everybody, and welcome to STL TV. I'm Tim Lampley. Highly decorated R&B act New Edition is celebrating its 40th anniversary, and I'm privileged to be joined here by my friend, Mr. Ronnie DeVoe, one of the longtime members. Can I say founding members?
Yeah, I guess so. Right, right. That would be Ricky, Michael, and Bobby as the founding members. Ricky brought Ralph in, probably about I'd say a year and a half or so later. My uncle Brooke, as the manager at the time, brought me in, and the rest has been history since then.
Like everybody else, I grew up listening to New Edition. The word is, Ronnie, that you're out here acting like you're 20 years old here and basically killing it on stage, man. How do you keep this up?
It's something that we love to do, and to be able to do it for as long as we've been able to is truly a blessing. It hurts a little bit more than it used to at in our 20s and our 30s. Of course, the recuperation time is a little bit longer. You may need an extra hour of sleep, or a rub for your back or what have you. But I wouldn't change it or trade it for anything in the world, man. When those lights go down and the energy from that crowd that's been supporting us for the last 40 years just starts to really, I mean, it's almost like eating it, right? It's the thing that kind of keeps me alive and young. So I'm excited about hitting St. Louis as well.
You did this a year ago or so with the Culture Tour, and
That's right.
now the Legacy Tour. Now, what made you guys want to keep the party going?
40 years. It's a celebration. Those are milestone moments, right? And you can't really just let those go by. And when I look at New Edition's history, right? We had a 25th anniversary that we really didn't celebrate. We had a 30th anniversary that we really didn't celebrate. So there were some milestones in our past because of some of our differences and challenges with being solo entities as well as a successful group. Really just didn't allow us to make the most of those opportunities. But now in this 40th, with the Culture Tour last year, which was very successful with Uncle Charlie and Jodeci. Now with Keith Sweat, our boys Guy and even Tank, to be able to really have the camaraderie that we started last year in our 39th year roll over into our 40th just feels like an extra blessing, man. I'm just so grateful that God kind of, ordained us to be entertainers for our lives, and we have the best fan base on the planet, so it feels good to make that connection.
You mentioned all of those tours. Which one do you think challenged you the most?
This one right here, it's just getting better. It's elevating, right? Our production level last year was good. This time we brought some bells and whistles in because we understood that we want to give people their money's worth. We opened up our catalog. So a lot of the songs that we haven't done in the past, we're putting back into the show now.
You want to
So
tell us a few of
it's
those that
nah, man, can't
you're
even do
not
that.
gonna
You
do
gotta,
it? What?
nah, Tim, you gotta come see the show. You have to come see the show. But some of my favorites. There was one song that we had on our Home Again album that we hadn't done for a long time, and it feels good to have that back in the show. I'll say it's a tearjerker, so I'll just leave it at that. And
And,
so
and,
many others from the early records as well.
and I've purposely avoided seeing any clips on YouTube
Yeah, yeah.
because I wanted to have this, this freshness to seeing it. Maybe you'll just break out with Earth Angel or something like that.
Oh, see, that's dope. I spoke to somebody the other day about the Blue Moon, excuse me, album, and they were asking why we don't put those songs into the show. So, okay, you might have to come. Look, Tim, that might be the 45th anniversary
That's
right
it.
there, huh?
That's it, man. Now you know what's interesting is the whole BBD thing too. And just because I
Yeah,
have you, I do want to ask you a little bit about how that all transitioned. Because when Jimmy Jam, was it Jimmy Jam that came to you and said, "Hey, I think you guys should do
that's right.
this"?
Yeah.
You had to have some reluctancy of should we do this? I mean, that was really taking a risk. So
You know
what
what?
what was your thought when he came to you guys about that?
Nah, it was it was a light bulb that went off, and Rick, and Mike at the same time, because up until that point, it's at the end of the Heartbreak tour. We know Ralph is going solo. Johnny was already a solo artist, so we knew he had obligations to put out a record. So we were looking at it like, okay, I guess we just gotta wait until Ralph comes back into the group, or until Johnny's finished. Maybe we'll try and figure some other things out individually outside of the music industry. So it wasn't even a thought until Jam came with the thought at it was the rap party for the tour. And the three of us looked at each other like, yo, you know what? Yeah, I mean, why not? So from that point, we didn't know what direction we were gonna go in musically and all of the above, but the light bulb definitely went off. And from that point, creativity started to brew. And I think we have a record in Belle Biv DeVoe that has stood the test of time. I want to say even more than probably any of the rest of the catalog, including the individuals. Poison. I mean, If It Isn't Love, Amazing, Candy Girl, My Prerogative, My Sensitivity, all these other records that we have definitely add to the longevity and the depth of our group. But that Poison record for Belle Biv DeVoe, talk about a monster that even in at a time where we did not know what was going to happen with the three guys. We didn't even have a name at the time. What's the other three going to do? That we have a record that kind of almost pushed through everything else in our total catalog and individual catalog.
You mentioned so many of the songs and maybe a few of the albums too. Which was your favorite?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. Candy Girl always lives because that was the start, right? That's the thing that opened the floodgates for us. And I think one of my favorite songs to perform, it's a crowd sing along, is Mr. Telephone Man. I mean, it's just the top of their lungs. People are singing it. And then of
I
course
don't know if I don't know if you could see that. I don't know if you can see.
I see it. I see it, right. That's the 45 cover right there for Mr. Telephone Man.
Yeah.
Dope.
That was your favorite
Yeah,
to
that's my
perform
favorite
anyway.
to perform. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people don't even know where the name is derived from. So tell the folks where New Edition, what does that mean?
So, a new addition to the music industry, something new and different, something that has never been seen before, right? And my uncle gave us that name, and he spoke life that maybe he imagined back then, but on the level that I don't think any of us thought we would be able to achieve. Bobby will always say that he knew we were going to have some success, but I think his barometer for success was, we're going to make it to Soul Train. Once we get to Soul Train, I don't know what the hell success means after that, right?
Right.
But to have longevity as a group, to have the individual depth that we have as a group, there's really nothing like that in the music industry. You have the Beatles, and certain members that went off to have individual success, but all of us have been there, done that. And to be able to come back together and form like Voltron at times and still be able to stand on your own, I think that's the thing that makes New Edition a new addition to the history books, as a matter of fact.
Because it was a real journey. I mean, people look at it now, and I think I don't know. I can't speak for you. That perhaps you feel that you're getting some of the respect that you guys deserve now, but that hasn't always been the case. And
Yeah.
even from the beginning, I read somewhere that you guys went on this big tour around the country, and then we dropped back off in the projects and given $1.87.
Right.
That can't be true.
Right.
It can't be.
It's very true. It's very true. It's called paying your dues. That's what they say, right?
How were you
Nobody's
gonna pay
gonna.
them with
Yeah,
$1.87?
exactly. Right. Right. We paid them. That's what it was. Right. They gave
That's why
us.
you only got a
Right.
dollar
Yeah,
87.
they gave us a small fraction of what we deserved. I think it's you know, I mean, you got to be fair in life. At the time, we were definitely taken advantage of. We were supposed to have money put to the side in these trust accounts and all of these other things that was actually court ordered. But I mean, it is what it is. I think making the money then in a short span of time versus making it over 40 years and still having the opportunity to make more money decade after decade moving forward, and even more importantly, kind of make an impact, on the culture, right? And the community. People have been pouring into us for a long time now, right? And it feels good for us to hit these cities on this legacy tour and put
Yeah.
something back on the table. There are organizations that we're giving to, and whether it's the Boys and Girls Clubs of America or autism or people that may be dealing with mental health. There's so many different organizations that we're connecting ourselves to, and that's like one of the most important things. Like, we are blessed to be a blessing to others, and it
Yeah.
feels good to be able to do it on a high level, so your blessing is even bigger.
Do you think the miniseries kind of reintroduced you guys to a group and put you on a more of a platform to be able to make a difference?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Over 30 million people watched that New Edition story, and nobody thought that it was going to have the success that it did, and it's still having. I mean, BT must play that thing 5 times a week, it feels like, right? Because they able to get that advertising dollar. But the New Edition story definitely opened us up to not only our audience, but the parents of our audience, right? And the kids of our audience. So we're seeing a direct reflection of that at our shows now, right? We're seeing 5 and 6 year olds, in the audience singing Candy Girl, or, 13-year olds in the audience singing Mr. Telephone Man. And then, the grandparents there as well enjoying the show. So that night one allowed us to speak to kids. Nights 2 and 3 allowed us to speak to everyone, and it feels like they're all coming together and enjoying themselves, having a great time. Look, they're on their feet. Tim, wear some comfortable shoes. That's all I'm telling you when you come to the show, because
That'd be
it's
comfortable.
nonstop hour and 90 minutes, and that's just New Edition. Of course, you're getting Keith Sweat and you're getting Guy and you're getting Tank before that, and everyone's definitely bringing the pain.
And once you said something like, I think that we got in our own way at one
Yeah.
time. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't quite sure what you meant by that until I sort of saw the miniseries.
Yeah.
You really believe that maybe that's really what it was in terms of elevating your success to a certain level, was that you really got in your own way?
Yes, I believe so. It's hard, man, because you know, people are pulling and tugging, excuse me, pulling and tugging on you from so many different directions, right? And there's a family perspective, and then there's a business perspective, right? And when you don't really have the blueprint for success, you're just trying to figure all of this out as you go. And you're living in the world of rock and roll, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? And you're trying to navigate all of those pitfalls and traps. It's tough, man. It's tough. Even when I look at Bell Biv DeVoe, our first album was amazing, right? But we were together all the time. We talked about it, we lived it. And I think the same thing with our first album, New Edition. We were together all the time. We talked about it, we lived it. In subsequent albums, right? Because of the tug of war, people pulling you in different directions. Now you're not living it and talking it and breathing it as a unit as much. So our sophomore album for Bell Biv DeVoe wasn't as good as the first one because of that disconnect, that success brings. But I think in hindsight, when I look back at it, it was good because it allowed for individual growth, and it allowed for people to see the depth of New Edition, right? Like if Bobby didn't leave, no one would know, the king of stage, right? If Ralph didn't leave, people wouldn't have sensitivity, So if that turmoil and some of the breakage didn't happen, we wouldn't be able to see the results of it 40 years later, right? Johnny Gill, my, Ronnie DeVoe poisoned because the other two wanted to leave. Like all of these different things that we had to go through that we looked at the time as, oh, what are they doing? Why can't they stay together? Now adds to the value of the group. So, God has an interesting way of doing things, right?
Just a little bit about you too. I know you are on the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you planning to do more of that sort of reality show stuff?
My wife and I are actually on the third season of Couples Retreat. It comes on May 2nd, premieres on MTV. So yeah, a little bit more kind of, I guess, reality TV. It's Couples Retreat. It's about our relationship. Five other couples on the show. Some of the challenges that you go through, like we feel like, look, let's be transparent so people can see the good, the bad, and the ugly at times, and how you navigate those things with help, basically, and the right village. So I'm excited about that, and just continuing this 40th anniversary celebration. September 9th. We're definitely going to do something special, which is our kind of official, unofficial anniversary. So man, life has so many things to offer. And of course, on the real estate side of things, just being an advocate for making sure, people like us have access to generational wealth. And for most individuals, over 80% is through home ownership, so we got to make sure we close that gap in those numbers. So I'm excited about speaking out on that side of things. But
And
man,
you're a father of twins, right?
oh man, and they're pissed. They're pissed because they're home. Like on spring break, I took them on the road. Um, and it feels good to be able to see them enjoy the fruits of their dad's labor, and also to make sure that they respect it as well, and they don't grow up as spoiled individuals, right? Like, how do I balance that? I'm trying to figure it out. Tim, maybe you can give me some pointers, man.
I'm taking notes from you. What do you want fans to get from this tour when they leave these spaces? What do you want them to really walk away with? Because I don't know if we'll ever see this again unless you just keep. Oh, well, you'll be in Vegas, right? You're going
Yeah, that
to.
residency.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. We
So
got to
maybe we
get there.
will. Maybe we will.
Gotta,
But this is still historic,
yeah.
So what do you want fans to walk away with?
Um, just an appreciation for cats that love what they do. Respect and honor the people that have been pouring into us and supporting us. Um, we don't take it for granted. We pray and say that pretty much every night before those lights go down and the energy starts to blast off. And we care, and have a good time. I'm saying at the end of the day, like you can show up in your suit in your hard bottoms, but you might want to switch that around, put on something comfortable, make sure the shoes are comfortable as well, and just enjoy yourself, man. Um, just allow yourself to go back to a time where maybe things weren't as hectic as they may be in life, which they can be. We already know that.
I'm wearing my tennis and I'll be there, man. We're all
Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about, right? And
we're
have a
so
drink while you're at it,
that's
right?
right, man. We're so looking forward to it. I got to get you to
No
sign
doubt.
that when I get a chance to.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it on in St. Louis when we get there for sure.
Again, thank you, man. I really, really appreciate it. Enjoyed talking with you. The tour stops in St. Louis, Saturday, April 15th. We're all looking forward to it. Again, my friend Ronnie DeVoe, I thank you and the rest of New Edition. We're praying for you, and we want this tour to be as successful as you would like it to be. So take care, my
Yeah,
friend.
thanks. Thanks,
We'll see
Tim.
you later.
Appreciate you. All right.
Bye-bye.